In front of you, I put out a couple of pieces of paper. One is a memo on some local grants, park grants that are coming up. You want to kind of look that over. We talked to our grant administrator about it. They're the ones that kind of brought it to our attention. So if you look on there, it's depends on the type of grant you can get, but they're basically a dollar for dollar match, which is something is better than nothing. And we already kind of have a lot of projects in mind that we need to bring to the public and get their input on. So this might help. We'll get that information filled out. And then on the second page, you can kind of see there's a recreational needs survey that needs to be done. It needs to go out to the public. We'll get that on our website. This is just an example. We'll modify it to meet the needs that we discussed in our last couple of meetings of all the items we wanted. Of course, we can't forget about Mr. Knott's Labyrinth and some other things. But anyways, and then also those new swings that were put up last year, they fell apart already and all split and broke, so we had to replace those. So I spent about $700 on some new, better quality outdoor park swings this time. And we got some new basketball nets. And that's about all I have for right now that I can remember. Mr. Ballard?
Yeah, well, I will address the mowing issue real quick. I know the park doesn't look that great, so just for the benefit of everybody else, rehash the conversation. We were budgeted to kick back up mowing in April, but mowing season started in February this year. So we sent our contractor in February. We had an issue a couple weeks ago with one of the council persons sending them home, so they didn't mow. So we sent our temporary worker out there that does park maintenance and facility maintenance, and he did a mowing. So we'll kick back off as soon as possible with our contract mowing service to make that look better.
When does that contract run? April to?
Well, it's a year-long contract, and they're supposed to do, I forgot how many mowings, 30-some mowings, but predominantly during the growth seasons. So it was supposed to kick back in April when they start again, but we had to kick it off in February.
Right.
So
Does that include flower beds and whatnot?
I think it includes 1 or 2 flower bed services per year, but with our temporary worker, we can take care of those anytime we need. I know he's been doing a lot of the tree trimming and cleanup over there pretty recently. He's put in quite a few hours over there, but I know the grounds themselves don't look that great at the moment. We'll get those back in shape.
So it's a $30,000 contract, 30 mowing, so it's $1,000 each time they mow it?
That's for both parks and City Hall. It's $960-some total.
Does that include
I thought
the
30,000
city
was just
signs
the park.
at the college?
I don't think it includes.
Who does that?
You know, if that wasn't
Public Works does
Public Works. Yeah, that wasn't part of the bid.
the welcome sign, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. Public Works does that.
Is it separate of the maintenance of the ball diamonds? Is all of that separate, or is that in that $1,000?
No, they're supposed to mow the ball diamonds, but there's some extra maintenance that needs to happen out there.
Yes.
That would be outside of that contract.
Okay.
Does that include weed control?
Bee control?
Weed control?
Oh, yes.
Spraying of weeds?
Anything else? New city? All right, we need to swear in a new board member. Mayor, you gonna?
Can we do it all at once? Can we all line up, Mayor, at once?
I'm just going to go in the order that I have in front of me here. So Donnie Beeson, if you want to step
So
forward.
we can't all line up at once?
Yeah. Okay. First, I'm going to do the statement of the officer. So just repeat after me, and where I say state your name, you state your real name. I, please state your name,
Connie Beeson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered, promised to pay,
offered, or promised to pay,
contributed, or promised to contribute
contributed, or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money, thing of value,
or promised any public office
or promised any public
or
office
employment
or employment
for the giving or withholding of a vote
for the giving or withholding of a vote
at the election at which I was elected,
the election
I didn't get the first
or
part.
as a reward
as a reward
to secure
Oh,
my
I did.
appointment or confirmation,
for my appointment or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Go ahead and sign right here and date it.
I'll let you date that for me. I'll let us date.
19.
24, thank you.
It's on the back of this.
One more. Oops, stay here for a minute.
Back of this.
Now we're going to do the oath of office. Okay, now for
That's
the oath of
page
office.
2.
Repeat after me. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
And by the authority of the state of Texas,
I, please
Johnny
state your
Beeson,
name, do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
Oh,
of
it's on the back.
EDC Type B Board Member
the office of
I get it.
EDC Board Member,
of the state of Texas,
state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United
and
States
laws of the United States
and of this state.
and of the state.
So help me God,
So
and raise
help
your
me
hand.
God. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and sign right there.
Thank you. That it?
Okay.
Thank you.
And this is for you.
Hold that till the end for all.
Okay, next we have Daniel Gathings. If you'll step forward. Just repeat everything he just said. No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding. Okay, just repeat after me. Raise your right hand. I, state your name,
I, Daniel Gathings,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered, promised to pay,
offered, or promised to pay,
contributed or promised to contribute
contributed, or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money or thing of value,
or promised any public office or employment
or promised any public office or employment
for the giving or withholding of a vote
for the giving or withholding of the vote
at the election at which I was elected,
at the election of which I was elected,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
or as a reward to secure my
Appoint-
appointment or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Just sign right here and date. For 19th. Okay, one more. Okay, this is the oath of office. Same thing, raise your right hand. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas,
In the name and authority of the state of Texas,
I, please state your name,
I, Daniel Gathings,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of EDC Type B Board Member
of EDC Type B
of
Board
the state
Member
of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United
the
States
Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Sign right here. Up here.
Okay.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, good job.
You'd be good at it.
All right, Mr. Heinrich. All right, first, we're going to do the statement of officer. Please raise your right hand. I, please state your name,
I, Gary Heinrich,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered, promised to pay,
offered or promised to pay,
contributed or promised to contribute
contributed or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money or thing of value,
or promised any public office
or promise any public office
or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote,
for the employment or the withholding or giving for a vote
very good, at the election at which I was elected,
at the election which I was elected,
or as a reward
or as a reward
to secure my appointment or confirmation,
to secure my appointment or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Okay.
There's a bunch of garbage in there, it doesn't need to be there.
We're not here to argue with the
Where'd you-
law.
Where'd you get this?
This comes from the state, Secretary of State's office.
Yeah.
Okay, please sign and please date.
It's not an election for one, so you could write your own.
As economic
And date
development,
it.
it's important
and date it,
to
sir.
swear to the
Oh, the
Three
date.
Constitution of
1924.
the United States.
They didn't talk about that.
Okay, don't go anywhere. One more.
Not yet.
All right, now for the
Oh,
oath of...
okay, that did happen?
Yes,
So
yes.
now we're before the judge.
Now for the oath of office, please raise your right hand and repeat after me in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas.
I, Gary Heinrich, you
I
forgot that,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office,
the duties of this office,
EDC Type B Board Member
EDC Type B Board Member
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas. Did you forget Keene? Supposed to be in there.
and will, to the best of my ability,
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God. Why wasn't Keene in there?
This comes from the Secretary of State's office. They don't
No,
put
you
our
need
city's
to
name in
redo
there.
it.
Please sign.
No, it needs to be in there. I don't work for the city of the state, I work for Keene.
All right, any public comments?
Yes, I had a question.
Okay.
I know that the city council has recently adopted rules of order. Does that apply to all boards, or do we still just conduct ourselves under the rules of order that we've had previously?
Apply to all boards a bit.
Okay, so are we in compliance with all of that? I mean, we have not had any issues, but I just wondered if,
Yeah, if I
My
remember right.
understanding is that the ordinance, the code of conduct, applies to the council and all boards and commissions, but the order of procedure is just the council.
so we can set our own, which we have basically done all along, sort of a modified Roberts rules,
That is
whatever.
my understanding.
Okay.
All right, general, approval of type B, EDC board minutes. You have a chance to read that? I'll entertain a motion when you have.
I'll move to approve as presented.
All right, Mr. Ham, motion. I'll second. Troy, second. Any other discussion about the minutes? None?
No, I'm sorry.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Oh,
Technically, we have, okay. Who's
Well-
replacing you? Well, then you can't second that because you just got voted. in,
Yeah.
so.
I was wondering what you were
because
doing.
our absent member is Chuck,
I
right?
like your assertiveness, but you can't second also.
Okay, so change that to Donnie seconding that. And all those in favor, raise your right hand. And it passes. I'm assuming you abstained because you weren't here.
Well, I abstained because I wasn't here and I have no idea, so.
Am I still supposed to be here then?
You're done.
Will? I thought you'd said you would go one more month.
Well, I
Did you say
would.
that?
I did, I was willing to, but I just, based on what he just said, I thought that maybe I wasn't.
You can't vote, you got replaced.
Who replaced me?
So who replaced him?
Yeah, I don't think you've been replaced.
Oh, well, then, hey, you gotta stay.
We
Okay.
still have a missing spot, right?
We will, at the end of the month, yes, we will have one.
I thought you filled his spot already.
We have a missing member today.
Yes. We have a missing member.
Who's not
He
here?
hasn't been sworn in.
No, easily, he's just
Oh, but
absent.
Chuck's not here.
Chairs around, you throw us off. I was feeling weird the whole time about that, but yeah, Chuck's supposed to be over there, and he's not here.
I'm just trying to be truthful here.
Yeah,
But today we swore in two people, and one of the spots that gets replaced is yours, and one of the spots that gets replaced is yours.
Yeah, because
You
he,
replace Andy.
Yeah, if he had to do
Yes.
it twice, because he was appointed to the next
So we
place.
have one member seat that's not
Yeah.
filled.
Yes.
Well, he can't resign. No, which one is it? You could resign?
Both resigned at the end of this meeting, but
There,
I just didn't reapply,
Why are you staying?
because I didn't reapply.
because he wants an hour and a half a month back.
No, I had some personal reasons why I didn't do it.
35 minutes ago, let's be honest.
I've been doing it a long time, so
Thank you.
somebody else's turn.
All right, so we got everything approved, right? All right, Charles. Oh, that's all right.
Charles not here.
Charles gone? Is he officially gone?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
On bereavement leave.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, Board. I'm just here as a representative of Mr. Charles.
Who are you?
Dinah Acosta, Finance Manager. Nice to see you all today. I'm here to take any questions so that I can refer those questions to Mr. Charles.
I guess I have a question. I'm wondering, I'm sure I could go back and look at this, but I didn't. Approximately how much did we bring in last year? Is it here? I haven't looked at this for 3 days. For 22, 23. It's at the bottom. So it's here, the revenue. So is it that actual 129,000?
For the revenues?
Yes.
22, 23 revenues for the
That was,
February.
that was as of February.
Okay.
Yes.
So this-
That's year-to-date actual for February, from 2022 to 2023.
Right.
But our year, the green column is this year compared to the gray column last year.
Okay.
Yes, the 131, 512,
So
87.
the 131, 512 is what?
For this February.
That is the 23, 24 year.
Year-to-date actual for February, yes.
I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
The year, I don't see it here, or I'm confused about how it is. The yearly budget for this from sales tax is what, 200 or more than that? We used to run around 240
354,
a year.
354,000.
At the top, 354,000.
Okay,
grand
this
totals.
approved 354,
Mm-hmm,
so
Sir.
we're coming up.
mm-hmm. Every year we go up a little bit.
You're welcome.
No, they take
Huh?
on more responsibility.
Yeah,
Part, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Right, yeah, we've kind of been going that way since 2018.
Yeah, it's nearly doubled in the 9 years since I started.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I remember like 175, 180 that first year.
So based upon the percentage you have there, 38.5% of the annual budget, does that mean we're under
Yes.
where we want our revenue to be for the year to date?
Mhm.
I'm not able to answer that question. Mr. Charles said when he gets back, he's gonna go with the percentage, but just looking at the number, it would seem so.
I do think we're a little bit short. I was talking with several of the other city managers, and their sales tax, kind of surprising was down quite a bit. So we haven't taken near as much of a dip as some of them. It's down quite a bit in their projections.
Right, we should be at the top right corner. so we should be at
41.7.
41%.
Yes.
Move to approve.
Motion approved.
You guys need to get down to Subway.
I got a motion, need a second? Daniel, second, all those in favor? And it passes. All right, next thing is to go into executive session. Liberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property?
That was a typo. That was supposed to be just for council and A board. So it shouldn't have been on there. We don't have anything to go into executive session on.
And we will reconvene back to open session. Am I missing?
You said we were gonna go into it, but you didn't.
Right, yeah, so
call to convene
Yeah, we don't have it, they said, we don't need it.
it. Okay,
That was a typo. All right, so request for any future items
okay.
on the agenda.
I
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
request. I would like for us to discuss hiring an economic development director. I would like to go back to that. He's rolling his eyes. I mean, everything is really starting to move our way, and I think it's high time we get somebody who really aggressively, somebody who is experienced and someone who is educated, that aggressively pursues what we want to have come to our city. No, this is not about you, Don. And so I want us to go back to that, because in the past, we've moved people up, or we've taken people on for the first time, and they've gone to school, you know, and I want us to go back to that discussion again, because I feel like that, yes, the city manager is going to be working on this, but we need to start really planning, and if we have that for our budget next year, or in our budget planning, we need to start looking at that, because if we get somebody in here that really goes after this stuff, we don't want just whatever the property owners, whoever they sell to just grow up along our economic corridors. We have 67 and we have 2280. We've got a lot of good stuff here, and we need to bring some real nice quality stuff to that area.
So you don't think that
Just sort of,
we should give it a chance the way we talked about last meeting, a little while to see what happens, or?
see what happens. Well, that's what will happen, is just whatever happens. We don't have anybody who is really looking out after us. When I look at it, I've thought about it since the last time, and the more I think about it, the more I think that with all the growth, I look at these reports that's coming up on the next city council. The city manager is going to go over all of these new subdivisions that are coming in. And I drove around out there, all the streets are in. The guys Lacey who did the roads out there, forget which one that is, out on 805. But the infrastructure is basically in. I drove around all the roads. Pretty soon there's going to be people living there. And I'm excited to see that Allsups is coming, but I think we need to start thinking about really bringing something in and really having somebody who that's what they do. So that's my burden, and I would like for that to come back up for discussion.
All right, this is the time of year to do it, about to hit budget,
Mhm.
hard and heavy, so.
Yeah, and
Put it
so,
on the agenda to talk about, so we can-
and if we need to pay them, you know, some amount close to what the city manager makes within reason or whatever, we need to start talking about that and find out what are we going to get in exchange then for what we're paying for. Because so far we haven't gotten a lot, but we haven't paid a lot. And also I want us to think about not splitting it with the city. And maybe A won't want to do this. So, you know, I know that the A board factors into this, but how do we know? You've said this before. How do we know that when the day comes along, what they're splitting their time these three ways, what are they I mean, they're not like an attorney where they hit the clock whenever they pick up the phone and talk to you, or they spend time on your issue.
But we're Parks and Recreation focused.
Yes,
Quality of life issues.
I know,
We are not economic development
but
focused.
it will
You
end
know, it
up
affects it.
being. I know, and I have promoted for that all along, I know. But I just hate to see this just becoming whatever the person who buys that property determines for it to be, and it's not being steered. So,
Well, it is being
talk me
steered, though.
down.
No, I'm not talking, it is being steered, however, I mean, there's zoning requirements.
Yes,
And the economic development director would have to follow our zoning requirements.
well, but I look at Joshua, and they only have 174, and look at everything they're doing. We've got 2280, and we've also got 67. We should have a lot of good economic development coming,
They have a few things we don't.
you know?
We need
Yeah.
another vape shop.
Just-
Yeah,
just
like-
told Mr. Beeson that three wasn't
Waiting
enough.
for that to come up.
Three's not enough, we need I mean,
Yeah,
everyone should be able to walk.
But a development director couldn't limit the
couldn't,
number of vape shops in
couldn't
town.
stop it.
Historically, we have seen very
Yeah.
little good
I know.
come from economic development.
I know, but we have never
Oh, I think
had a
they said-
serious,
How are they?
educated, for
not-
that position, economic
I don't
development
agree with you
director.
on that. I think we've had very well-educated and people that were serious about marketing our city.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the
I-
other thing is, this is really a type A board discussion.
yes,
not
I
B.
know, but it hasn't always been, so I wanted to bring it back up.
Yeah, it's a type A board. If type A board doesn't want to do it, we're a hanger-on to type A board,
Well-
because that's economic development. We're quality of life.
And I believe, now tell me if I'm
Sorry,
wrong,
my
we had a
hand
meeting last month where our city
I
manager, our
know.
city manager
I
told
know
us
it.
that with the new structuring that he thinks with what's happening right now, he could handle it and you let us know when he could.
I know it, and I just sat there and thought about it and worried about it, and I'm just bringing it back up and saying my piece about it. And you guys don't have to go along with it. I can handle it, but I really think if we're gonna talk about it at all, that we
I think
need to
should
start
talk
talking about it.
Let's talk about it.
We'll
If
put
you-
it on the agenda.
Yeah, I think we're probably at that point now where we have to either put it on the agenda or not, because talking about it now makes we're off agenda, so we'll
Well,
put it on
I
the agenda.
think I just wanna hear more
Yeah.
about,
Put it on the agenda, talk about it
Yeah.
next month for sure. What else?
What's in our pipeline?
what can
I'm a
we talk
newbie.
about that?
Do you mean what we've talked about, we wanna find more out about, or what we're
Yeah,
actually?
what you're making plans on doing,
Well, we're trying to put sidewalks in, we're waiting for some stuff on that.
where
Yes.
at?
Well, that's a great question, but Fourth Street was our target, right? We wanted to see
Yes.
what it would cost to put in sidewalks to finish Fourth Street. And then we talked about
Yes.
not doing part of it because they might be doing Fourth Street. But then we asked about, well, let's go ahead and see what it costs to engineer, right? So,
Mhm.
second thing we've asked about in this board is, we've asked about pickleball courts.
Mhm.
We're ready to move, this board, I think, is ready to spend the money.
Mhm.
And
Well, I know where some of that's coming from.
who's that?
Some of my kinfolk,
Oh,
they play pickleball quite often.
Oh.
We
Well, I
have
think
family
it's a fun game.
reunions.
it's a fun
They
game and it
want
doesn't
it.
cost a lot to put them in.
Right.
So we were kind of waiting on a cost to do that. We just finished the basketball courts.
Right.
Which was one. But as far as projects, there's one more that we asked about that we're still waiting on, was and I'm not saying that in any way to say that somebody not doing their job. I'm just saying we're waiting.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It was brought to us to get 2 signs that were on trailers. That
Yes.
were community service signs, where if they were having an event at the park, we could say, hey, slow down, the kids are here. And then we asked, hey, can you add like a radar to that, right?
That
So they can maybe
tells
do the
you're going
speed and stuff. And
54,
we've been waiting on
it's
that for
45.
4 months now. 4 months.
So,
Right. I have about 6 to 8 projects, like we've talked about. Pickleball, fixing the baseball fields because they're horrible, adding some security cameras and lighting at the park, the signs like you mentioned. So there's about that we need to take to the public and kind of get the public's input, surveys. Some of those things I'm getting quotes on. That way, when it all comes together, it'll be ready to go.
And now I think we need to add, we've talked for years about an advantage of this grant from Texas Parks. Matter of fact, if you guys remember, it was on this board 2 years ago, and Molly was here, I think we wanted to move forward even before we built the pavilion.
Mhm.
And it was advised to us, maybe we should come up with a master plan, because people with master plans in their community have a better chance of getting approved. Remember that?
Yes.
I honestly don't know where that went.
And we have one that was done 2019-ish, I think. I
But
found.
in that plan, we talked about, hey, in the master plan, we got that land on Fourth Street that we always joke about, and, let's do something with that, let's make it, and we were ready to spend money on that, remember guys?
Yes.
They said, let's hold off
Mhm.
until we get this master plan, because if we spend $50,000 on a park, we can't use that pre-spent money against any grant dollars we might match. And so, but I think, if I understood correctly, if we have a master plan that's approved, and then we may spend some of the money, it may still be able to be matched dollar for dollar, based upon what Molly told us a few years ago. Don't know the answer to that.
Well, several years ago, the master plan called for three pocket parks.
Yeah,
And we kind of got started with one, at least the land, and we've never done that. Of course, I guess master plan now may not even call for that, huh?
well, I don't know the answer to that.
I'll find it and email it to everybody.
I had a master plan copy of it, and
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about this survey. Again, is this just like a demo for us to look at, or is this?
Yes,
one you're
yeah,
gonna
that's
send
just
out?
the generic one that are,
Okay, yeah, 'cause there's some things on here that
right.
we've already done.
Yeah, we'll make our own and put our own slots, what we've talked about in the last few
Sample.
meetings.
So, while we're talking about projects, I know you're putting together a package. When can we expect that package? And if the package is too big as one, can you break it up and give us a little package, like, break it up into quarters?
I mean, we can. Part of what I was trying to do was get quotes instead of just going, hey, this is a pickleball court. We've gotten one quote for pickleball courts, and we know that was $300,000+ to do 3 courts. You know, so there's other
Maybe.
options.
3.
3 courts. Will they fit over there where that volleyball sand
That's what we
thing
talked
is?
about,
Mhm.
yes, sir.
We were looking at kind of in between the new restrooms and TxDOT, kind of where the Christmas tree was in that area, putting 3 pickleball courts, some seating and shade. That way they'd be close to the restrooms.
So, got a question, or not a question, a statement. Massey's Barbecues moved out to Glen Rose, and I went out there the other day, they've got 2 pickleball courts they just built. There is no way in the world they had spent $300,000 on those courts. We might check with them to see what they did.
Okay.
I'm not sure that there's our surface, the quality that but we played on the other day, and they were good. So there's no way they spent $100,000 a court on what I saw out there. Might be worth checking on that for pickleball.
What, do you got concrete and fence?
And then if we ended up wanting to light it eventually,
Yeah, there was concrete, fencing, lighting, seating area.
You have
To
any,
be honest with you, on the pickleball, we played and there's no fencing out there, and because pickleball is such a light ball, even when you hit it off the net, it doesn't roll much past here to those seats. So really, fencing's not even that important if you had it up away from the road. You have to have it by the volleyball courts and stuff. You can, I just checked with him to see how much he paid for those, because they're good and
was it a local contractor that gave us the price for the concrete stuff? Or was it?
I'll have to look.
The other things, I think that once we get that, just trying to, that'll let you know what you asked, because
Yeah, I was just curious.
we've got about a 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 year rolling plan of stuff that we got the basketball courts and the pavilion done, keep it on moving. Ideally, what we would like for anybody that might be new is, we talked about this for all the 8 or 9 years that us 4 have been on the board, has been to have a way that somebody could actually park at the park, get on the sidewalk, walk pretty much the entire community back to the park safely. That's been our goal for 7, 8, 9 years, pull that off, because we think that would be really beneficial.
One of the biggest things is down 2280 there along Hattie Ryder's property.
Well, that was
There's
actually,
sidewalks.
that was actually discussed to try to partner with the university and the church to see if we could, because I know I've checked and talked to someone myself in years past that if you have a collaboration agreement with them, you could put funds on their land if you had an agreement to tie into their system and let the community use it. And so I know there was money there a couple years ago to do that.
Paul Knott would like sidewalks from Long Lasky Poulter all the way to Oakdale, because when he walks that putting flags in, he's always twisting his ankles.
Well,
We might have to cross.
and kids walking to the park don't really
Yeah.
have any safe place to walk.
Right.
I would say the sidewalk project is probably one of the biggest things we've pushed for
Yeah.
almost a decade,
But that needs to be done in sections, because you can't just,
right? You couldn't do it all.
we need to start working on it.
Absolutely.
So I know the city was pouring sidewalks up to Fairview, or getting close apparently down there, right?
I think we finished some this week, didn't we? Yeah.
Little on 4th Street, yes.
And then we hadn't formally voted on it, but we had asked, what would it cost to finish it to Fairview? You know, what does it cost? I mean, it's just a small bite. What does it cost us to get the sidewalk to Fairview? And then we asked, what does it cost to get the sidewalk to College Drive? And then, you know, little bites like that. And then
Right.
we talked about all the way down 4th Street, and then there's a possibility that road may need to be torn up in a few years, and then we may want to wait on that sidewalk. And then that led us to be, okay, well, what about if we just did from the city, the College Pond, where they have their little sidewalk, and tie in and bring it to our city park? You know, that was another one. And then you also brought a map that showed us going up in front of KAS and down Fairview, all the way to the park that way. So
Right.
we have, the ball's rolling, I just don't know where the ball is.
And how long it'll take to roll there.
Yeah. It was about $500,000 to go from eastern up Pecan down Fairview to the park. Ish. Because you got utilities and some grade elevations that are,
And
Maybe a
that
little
bridge.
That seems doable.
yes.
bridge?
Well, it's a bit of contentious because on Eastern Street,
Eastern.
where the low water area is there, I'm gonna say
Oh,
First or
You know.
Second Street, instead of pouring a sidewalk at ground level, letting the water run over it, apparently we have to have
Right.
a bridge to go over the water when it's there.
Kind of hard to walk through 2 feet of water.
Yeah. There's probably not a whole lot of people walking when the water's at 2 foot.
The little sign there says don't walk.
But
in
we
the
still
water.
have to
But,
take it
yeah,
into
it probably
account.
needs to be elevated sidewalk, but I see them all the time.
I mean, we can put a
Raise them
toll
up
bridge.
a couple of feet.
Toll bridge, there you go, toll bridge.
Yeah.
Any
hire
other
a
future
troll
item-
to
agenda
collect the
items?
toll.
Any other future agenda items? Right, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second,
Nobody wants to say.
all in favor? Thank you, guys.
Boy, I was glad you didn't have that executive session.
You didn't want, I was hoping maybe you had sold the property or had a good buyer.